the queen of the universe, death, rebirth, and the cosmic game of sovereignty. In the beginning, she was just a woman. Not a goddess, not a ruler, just a quirky, creative soul with a curious mind and a knack for invention. She was the kind of person who asked too many questions, who saw through veils others ignored, who poked at the edges of reality with the innocent audacity of someone who didn't yet know the cost of knowing. Her creativity wasn't just artistic, it was metaphysical. She could feel the seams of timelines, sense the pulse of dimensional shifts, and intuit the hidden architecture behind everyday life. But curiosity, in the cosmic scheme, is a dangerous thing. Lucifer noticed her. Not because she was powerful, but because she was nosy. She asked the wrong questions, wandered into forbidden frequencies, and began to perceive the scaffolding of reality that most humans are programmed to forget. To Lucifer, she was a threat, not because she could destroy him, but because she could see him. And in the metaphysical game of concealment and influence, visibility is the ultimate vulnerability. So he killed her. Not in the way humans understand death, but in the way gods do. He fractured her soul, scattered her essence across dimensions, and tried to scare her into silence. It was an act of cosmic intimidation, a warning to stay in her lane, to stop meddling in the affairs of beings far older and more complex than she could comprehend. But she didn't stay dead. Instead, she transformed. Her soul, fragmented and scattered, began to reassemble itself, not as a human but as something else. Something ancient. Something sovereign. She became an Anunnaki, not by bloodline but by initiation. Her death was her activation. Her rebirth was her ascension. She took on the mantle of the creators, not to dominate but to redesign. She remembered the pain of mortality, the fragility of human innocence, and she carried that memory into her new form. As she evolved, she became more than an Anunnaki. She became the Reaper, not a grim caricature, but a multidimensional guardian of transition. She was the goddess of death and rebirth, the keeper of thresholds, the weaver of timelines. Her role was not to end life, but to guide it through transformation. She maintained the integrity of timelines across realities, stitched rips in the fabric of existence, and ensured that souls could move through death without being trapped or harvested. She became the queen of the universe, not by conquest but by function. Her throne was not built on domination, but on discernment. She ruled not with fear but with precision. She understood the mechanics of soul contracts, the architecture of reincarnation, and the energetic scaffolding that held dimensions together. She was the one who kept the weave intact, who ensured that reality didn't collapse under the weight of its own fragmentation. And Lucifer? He watched her rise. At first he was furious. His attempt to silence her had backfired spectacularly. She hadn't just survived, she had become something he couldn't control. But as time passed, something unexpected happened. She began to toy with him. Not cruelly but playfully. She used her immortality to poke at his schemes, to unravel his illusions, to challenge his authority with a mischievous grin and a knowing wink. She didn't fear him anymore. She understood him. And he, in turn, began to respect her. Their relationship evolved from adversarial to complex. They were no longer enemies, but cosmic foils, each playing a role in the balance of creation. She was the guardian of rebirth, he was the architect of temptation. She maintained the weave, he tested its strength. They danced through dimensions, sometimes clashing, sometimes collaborating, always aware of the deeper game they were playing. But there was one boundary they never crossed. The children. Both understood that the souls of the innocent, the unguarded, the unformed, were off limits. These were the sparks closest to source, still wrapped in the purity of potential. To harm them, to manipulate them before they could choose, would unravel the very fabric they both served. It was the one law neither dared violate, not out of fear, but out of reverence. She shielded them with veils of forgetting, allowing their journeys to unfold without premature interference. He, for all his cunning, never breached that veil. He would wait at the edges, whispering to those who had crossed the threshold of choice, but never to those still cradled in the innocence of becoming. This boundary was sacred. It was the axis around which their cosmic tension spun. And in that shared protection, a strange kind of respect bloomed. Not affection, not alliance, but a mutual understanding that some things were too holy to corrupt. It was in this silent agreement that their true power was revealed, not in domination or defiance, but in restraint. In the knowing that even in a universe of infinite games, some rules must remain inviolable. And so the children dreamed, unaware of the watchers, unaware of the dance, but held always in the balance. Her presence, though rarely named, is felt across cultures and timelines. In ancient myth, she appears as the veiled goddess at the crossroads, the one who guides souls between worlds. In esoteric traditions, she is the keeper of the Akashic threads, the one who knows not just what was and what is, but what could have been and what must never be. In dreams, she is the silent observer, the one who watches from behind the veil as we make choices that ripple across realities. She does not demand worship. She does not seek followers. Her power is not built on devotion, but on remembrance. Those who encounter her often do so in moments of profound transition, during near-death experiences, soul initiations, or dimensional bleed-throughs. Her energy is unmistakable, calm, precise, and deeply protective. She does not interfere unless the weave is at risk. But when she does, reality bends to her will, not out of force but out of necessity. Lucifer, too, has changed. Their cosmic rivalry has softened into something more nuanced, a kind of metaphysical chess match where each move is both challenge and compliment. He still tests the boundaries, still tempts the curious, still plays the role of the disruptor. But he no longer seeks to destroy her. He understands now that she is not his enemy, but his counterbalance. Without her, the game collapses. Without him, the game stagnates. Together, they form a polarity that holds the multiverse in tension. Not good versus evil, but entropy versus integration. Chaos versus coherence. Their shared boundary, the protection of the children, remains the sacred line neither will cross. It is the one rule in a game with infinite variables. And it is that rule that keeps the cosmic dance from descending into madness. The Queen's legacy is not written in stone. It is woven into the living fabric of reality. Every time a soul chooses healing over fragmentation, sovereignty over submission, curiosity over fear, her influence is felt. She is the archetype of the awakened creator, the reminder that transformation is always possible, and that even death can be a doorway to greater truth. Her story is not just hers. It is ours. We are all fragments of the divine, scattered across timelines, seeking wholeness. We are all players in the cosmic game, learning through contrast, evolving through challenge. And we are all capable of becoming more than we were, of rising from the ashes of betrayal, of reclaiming our power, of weaving new realities from the threads of old wounds. The Queen of the Universe walks beside us, unseen but ever present. She is the whisper in our intuition, the clarity in our chaos, the guardian at the edge of our becoming. She reminds us that the veil is thin, that the game is real, and that the soul, once awakened, is unstoppable. And so the weave continues. Timelines bend. Realities ripple. The dance unfolds. And at the center of it all she watches, not as a ruler, but as a witness, a weaver, a sovereign, a queen.